welcome to the Benedum Hall virtual tour. The first stop on our tour is the Orange Desk. The Orange Desk is located in the Benedum lobby. This is probably the first thing that you'll walk into when you enter the lobby. And behind the Orange Desk are a bunch of offices. This is kind of our one-stop shop, and it houses our first-year academic staff, our international experience office, and our co-op office. So likely, if you have a question regarding those items, you're going to be pointed to this desk, and all of your questions can be answered behind the desk. So up next are our smart classrooms. This is what a typical engineering classroom will look like. As you can see on the whiteboards, there's a bunch of math written there on the boards. Typically, the professor can drop down these giant projectors and project all of the material to all of the class, as well as put all of the material onto those individual monitors. And the professor can also take content from an individual monitor and project it onto the projectors for the whole class to see. So let's say you've done something really cool or really good in class, the professor can take that and show the entire classroom. The classroom is wider than it is deep, so it gives the classroom a much smaller feel. You're not too far away from the front of the classroom, and the classroom can hold about 80 people, but it never feels like there's that many people when you're in that room. So as you can see on those desks, there are 3 monitors for every 6 chairs, and that's to create a very collaborative work environment. A lot of the work that you do in an engineering course revolves around group work, so it's really nice to have that collaborative space and that shared monitor to get some schoolwork done with your teammates. So this is our Benedum library. You might be looking at this picture and you might be thinking to yourself, well, this doesn't look like a library. Where are all the books? Well, that's because all of our thousands and thousands of volumes of books are underneath on the bottom floor of this library. There are 2 floors to the library. This top space is not like your typical library space where you have to go in there and be quiet. This is a very collaborative environment, or we can go in there and work with your group. You can bring some food in there if you would like, and really just work with your group, and you don't have to be quiet. On the bottom though, if you're looking for that more typical library quiet space, you can go down there with all the books, and there are some private areas where you can do some work in a quiet space. All of the librarians are specific to this library, so they are very well versed in engineering topics. So when you go to ask them for material about a class or your first year engineering paper, they won't look at you like you're crazy when you ask about something that is very complicated. They will likely know what you're talking about, and they will be able to help you find the information that you need. So this is the 3rd floor of Benedum Hall. The 3rd floor is our bioengineering floor. So each major has their own floor in the Benedum Tower. And that's so that way you can find all your professors in the same space. So I know that the computer engineering floor is on the 12th floor. I don't really know which floors the other majors are on, but each one has their own floor. And when we went under a renovation, the contractors asked the students what they wanted to see, and the students said they wanted to see more collaborative space, more whiteboard space, and wider hallways. And as you can see from that picture, that's what we've got there. So this is the computer engineering floor. Like I said, each major has their own floor. The computer engineering floor is located on the 12th floor. The picture there on the left is the CERC. It stands for the Student Electronic Resource Center. And in there, you can create a lot of really cool projects or anything that you really would like to make. There's a 1 credit course that you can take that'll teach you everything that you need to know about the CERC. It'll teach you how to solder, it'll teach you about 3D printing, it'll teach you about circuit boarding and all that fun stuff. And then once you take the course, you're able to go up there and create whatever you want, whenever you want. The professors who run this course are very involved in senior design for the ECE students. ECE stands for Electrical and Computer Engineering. So likely you'll have some involvement with them if you are an ECE student when working with your senior design project.
So this is our chemical engineering undergraduate teaching lab. This is giving a little bit of a view of what our current virtual / in-person classes will look like. Pretty much the teacher is sitting there and will have cameras over both him and his work, as well as being able to display it to the students in the class, as well as the students who are taking their classes virtually over the internet, online over Zoom. So what's really cool about this on Teaching Lab is that it is a scaled down version of industry equipment, which is going to give our chemical engineering students real world experience that they can then translate directly into their field. This is also a great place that students will go most of the time to work on group projects and papers, as well as lots of times inspiration for those papers will get pulled from classes like these. This is our power systems lab. It's actually housed in our electrical engineering department, and it's used to study grid energy. So in front of you, you can see these blue boxes. They're actually state-of-the-art power boxes that were a collaboration between Pitt and Eaton. And Eaton is one of the companies that does hire a lot of co-op students from Pitt. So they decided to let us get a little bit more real-world experience by giving us these boxes. This Power Systems Lab simulates real-world electrical problems, and each of the blue boxes will simulate a room, and together they can be placed together to simulate a house. Or, for example, the box could be a house, and you could simulate them together as a neighborhood. On its own power grid, this explores renewable energy, and it's actually solar powered, so helping with the environment. And these are hands-on teaching labs, and by the time of graduation for all departments, they can have access to these. And one time there was a power outage in 2013 when Beyonce performed due to her request for smoke to lay lower on the stage for her performance. And they ended up simulating this in the power systems lab in order to prevent this from happening again. So this is really applicable to many students and their experiences that they could have in the future. This is the Music Engineering Lab. It is basically under the instruction of Dr. George Stetton. He's part of our bioengineering department, but has a big passion for music, so he's basically the one that runs the Music Engineering Lab. So in the Music Engineering Lab, we're exploring the engineering behind sound and music, which is Dr. Stetton's specialty, and you can actually take a 1-credit course/lab about music engineering. And after you take this course, you're going to have 24/7 swipe access to the music engineering lab. There's going to be a full recording studio in there that has instruments, recording equipment, and it's completely soundproof. So if you end up wanting to have a jam sesh, you're not going to be interrupting anybody else in the engineering building. And this is the most expensive room per square foot on Pitt's campus. So that is pretty impressive. Here is a picture of 2 of our maker spaces. We have about a half a dozen maker spaces here in Benedum Hall alone, and it is open to the public. And so pretty much anybody can come in and use them. You don't just have to be an engineering student, so it's really nice. You can see a lot of collaboration between students here at Pitt, and there's lots of low resolution materials here, as well as all the way up to like higher grade resolution prototyping materials. And mostly this is focused on human factors engineering and prototyping and fabrication. We do have a class that is offered here, and lots of times if you're in the honors college, you can take it as a first-year student, or other than that, most of the time students will take it during their 2nd, 3rd, or 4th year, and it's known as the Art of Making. It is directly teaching you about maker spaces, learning how to prototype things, and move you forward in that engineering journey, as well as we have a big idea competition and many other competitions that will have students directly using the maker spaces in order to build what they want to compete. We also have an innovation institute that commonly will use the maker spaces in Benedum as well as all over campus, just to teach students how to be able to move forward in creating products and launching their entrepreneurial endeavors. Here is our FSAE lab, which stands for our Formula Society of Automotive Engineers. So the FSAE club is one of the many design clubs that we do have here on campus, and any type of major can join the club, not just mechanical engineers and not just engineers. They have a lot of business students that will collaborate with them, just because there's many aspects to their competitions, including a business portion. This club is actually completely student run, and everyone gets really heavily involved in making the car, and they actually all get to drive the car. So that's kind of cool. And the fastest person that can drive it is the one who actually gets to compete inside of the car at the different competitions that the club enters. And the club has a 100% job placement rate. So if you're really interested in automotive engineering, this would be a great club to join here on Pitt's campus. The Concrete Canoe is part of our civil engineering department, and it is another design club that is completely student run. What's really cool is they use all of the civil engineering design tactics they learned in their classes in order to build a canoe completely out of concrete, and not only float it, but be able to paddle themselves across different bodies of water in their competition.
At the beginning of my section, we're going to start off with the ANSYS Research Lab. This is a research lab dealing with additive manufacturing, which is similar to 3D printing, but it uses metal instead of plastics. It's a research lab that many can get involved with as an undergraduate, and it's funded by the company ANSYS. Now, They do this so that if they get some of the co-ops from the University of Pittsburgh, their co-op students will have a little bit of background in the lab and what they kind of work with before they even get to their co-op. So that's what makes this research lab a really great opportunity. It was founded by our namesake, John Swanson, and it has the most cutting-edge technology in there to make designs that save materials and make a lightweight product that has the same strength and structural integrity of most metals. Next, we're going to go to the McGowan Institute for Regenerative Medicine. Now, this is off campus, but it is another research institute affiliated with Pitt. It is located in the south side of Pittsburgh, and it focuses on the regenerative medicine in cardiology, neuroscience, tissue engineering, cellular therapies, artificial organs, and many others. Many research labs for bioengineering students can be found in this institute, and it was mentioned on Dr. Oz's TV show that the University of Pittsburgh, with certain elements and resources such as the McGowan Institute, is one of the leading universities in regenerative medicine and tissue engineering. Next, we're going to go to the LEED Gold certification. Now, the Benedum Hall is LEED Gold certified. What that means is that the LEED committee has come in and certified that it is a sustainable building to be very sustainable in its energy use and the way that it was designed itself. There's multiple green roofs, which I'll discuss in a little bit later in greater detail. There are larger windows allowing for the maximum amount of lighting to come into it so that they don't have to worry about electricity as much. And all the lights in the building are on motion sensors, so they don't use energy whenever no one's around. Next, we have the Mascaro Center for Sustainable Innovation. This is also housed in Benedum, and it focuses on integrating sustainability into the typical engineering curriculum. It has the cutting-edge interdisciplinary research for many students to kind of get that certificate in sustainability if they so desire it. And they focus on high-performance buildings, green chemistry, materials, and water and energy. I say high-performance buildings, Benedum Hall being an example itself. Now going on to the green patio and green roofs. As I mentioned briefly before, Benedum Hall is covered in green roofs. It helps with water runoff and insulation, and the green roof on the patio helps to insulate the ground floor. You can't see it in the image in front of you, but below that green patio, there is the ground floor and main floor of the Benedum Hall, and that kind of is a little bit of a cheaper alternative to the pink insulation you might find in typical drywalls. Last but certainly not least, we have Einstein Bagel Bros. Just off of the O'Hara Street entrance, you have the the Einstein Bagel Bros restaurant. This is open at 7 a.m. every weekday, so you can stop in, grab a little bit of breakfast before you go off to any of your classes inside Benedum. They accept dining dollars, panther funds, or just cash, and you can go there to hang out with friends, study, grab a coffee, breakfast sandwiches, cookies, whatever else may be there. But it's right there. You enter in from the O'Hara Street, go in, turn left. The library will be on your right, and Einstein will be right in front of you. So that concludes my section of the Benedum Hall tour. I hope you continue to enjoy learning about Pitt.